All right, if we're ready to go, I'll go ahead with the order. The Thursday, April 4th, 2024 Watertown Plan Commission. Can I get a roll call?
Yes. Ford.
Here.
Colleen.
Here.
Dolly.
Here.
Brink.
Here.
Oletzky.
Here.
Kays.
Here.
And Hanson, Dargis Johnson, and Spire are absent. We have a quorum, and it is it's a simple majority for Plan Commission. So we have 6 members, so we need 4 yeses or 4 in the affirmative for a passing motion.
Thank you, Brandy. Moving on to item 3 is invitation for public comment participants. I think we have a sign-up sheet there up by Brandy on the desk if you'd like to speak on something that's not on the agenda. Moving on to approval of the agenda. Can I get a motion for that?
So moved. Second.
Motion by Culhane, second by Case. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Agenda is approved. We'll move on to item 5A is the minutes from the February 22nd, 2024 meeting.
So moved.
Motion by Culhane, second by Kays. Any discussion on those minutes? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Those pass. Moving on to item 6A on the regular agenda, commission consideration of resolution 24-10. Brandy?
Thank you, Blake. So if GIS gets it figured out here, we are looking at a vacation request at the active heating property here at 125 North Maple, just between here. So I'll just highlight all of the properties that Active Heating and Don and Janet Rorick own. So currently, this property is zoned C1, community commercial, and there is a driveway easement that runs, and I'm pointing it out here on the screen, and then I will show you on the exhibit. There's an 18-foot, 9-foot on each side of a staggered on the property lines that runs between Broadway and Maple. So obviously, this plat, I'd have to find the date. I think it was somewhere in 1970. Okay, well, it doesn't really matter. But today we wouldn't plat it like this because, for one, it's a driveway easement. So that is providing sole access to a platted lot. And so it needs to go through the vacation process because if it did not, you could landlock a property and somebody not be made aware of it. So the only property that is dealing with potential landlock because of ownership is this property here highlighted in the tealish blue. So the Roricks are proposing to only vacate the area of the driveway easement that is shown here with the red cloud around it. And that is so that they are able to shut off through traffic as they continue to develop their property. There's existing utilities within this area of the driveway easement. There's gas and electric lines. So a utility easement would be retained over the entirety of the 18 feet. However, it would give the ability for the property owner to be able to disconnect through traffic as they continue to develop their property. Obviously, they will need to take into consideration the needs for turnaround for emergency vehicles like fire department, and we have discussed that with the fire department, and there would be options there as far as if they did put a fence to separate it, whatnot, that a gate could be installed, anything like that. And what else here? I think, with that, I will just stand by for any questions.
Brandy, has there been any discussion about, I'm sorry, Chair?
Nope, go ahead.
Has there been any discussion about combining 122 North Broadway and 125 North Maple? Because I know Don owns them both now because I sold him 122 North Broadway, but that property doesn't really have any access if you get rid of this easement. So I mean, it would make sense to me that we would combine, that way we just, in sometime in the future, Don, that we don't end up with a landlocked inadvertently property, combine it with 125 North Maple. Is there anything wrong with that?
No, that's a great idea. And we can easily do a development lot agreement to tie them together so they wouldn't have to replat. But, you know, I don't know what the configuration of this property here on the north side is as far as the legal descriptions. I guess I can figure that out right here. So those are two fully platted lots. Otherwise, if it were like portions, we would have them replat before, if they applied for a building permit.
Yeah.
So then they could just do it at that time. But we can still clean all of that up at the time, like, I mean, really it will happen at the time of building permit issuance.
Okay, I mean, I anticipate that they don't plan on getting rid of it. I remember from owning the building that the trouble with 122 North Broadway was that there was no access to it. That it's all, because it's all loading dock. I know you guys built a big ramp back there, but you basically had to have Don's property or blessing to get into the building. So,
No, and that is a good point. And honestly, we can just make that even a condition of the vacation so it gets done. Say that there isn't a building permit that's issued, but that's, I believe, the plan. But we could still make sure that that happens if the vacation is approved.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
I don't know if anybody in the audience is here that owns the property in between those properties that butt up against the highway, the one that could potentially have his access reduced to only coming in from the west? Have you heard anything? Are they here, or have you heard anything?
I think a spokesperson is.
Oh, okay.
But have we
But
opened the?
before we go,
We have not, yeah.
that was one question. The other quick clarification is, if we grant the access easement to be removed and we still retain the utility easement, there would not be able to construct over that utility easement yet.
Correct.
So theoretically, it'll still be clear space. It's just you won't be able to drive on it.
Yep.
Okay.
I'll open the public hearing.
I'm Jason Hansen. My father owns that piece of property in question. I lease a couple of space from him for some storage for my business, but been in conversation with the Roricks and really don't have an issue with it at this time. Kind of have a gentleman's agreement that if we need to get through to the east, that we'd have access to that, but really wouldn't, I guess we're not worried about a hardship at this time.
And the other quick question, Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir.
So Brandy, you said that you'd had conversations with representatives of the emergency services, police, fire department, because realistically, if that east-west conveyance corridor is closed off, you end up having to go from First all the way up to Third to get around that property. And did either one of those organizations have any issue with that?
Nope, I'm getting Adam's head shake. But then, yeah, so we
I
had,
could see the hat, but I just couldn't.
we've, Adam Bloom, fire marshal. We got the silent head shake of a, no, it would not be an issue.
I just add one comment, I guess, to Mr. Culhane's comments regarding the 122 North Broadway, because we would still retain some of this driveway touching or adjacent to that property, but because of the orientation of the building, it wouldn't be a realistic access point to that property.
and it's not pictured on here, but the whole north side is all loading dock height, and it's closed off on the west side, would be the west side, right? That's closed off, and then there's no real access in there. There's not enough room between the building and Jurgen's lot to do anything.
Yep.
So that was my only concern, is that that doesn't somehow get chunked off of your guys' ownership years down the road and somebody gets stuck with it.
And we have, in other vacations, we have looked at doing a contingency upon a development lot agreement or something to tie the lots together in these relationships. I do have the public hearing open. If there's somebody that wants to step forth and talk about this in the public.
Jim Roby, attorney. I am here with Don Rorick. Don and Janet Rorick are the owners. We really don't have a lot to add, but we're happy to answer any questions. Dustin Flatten is also here. Dustin is one of the principals in active heating. But the Roricks own all of the property that we're talking about. But I think that Brandy's presentation was complete unless you have any questions.
There's just a question around the development lot agreement. Would you be happy to enter into a lot
Yes.
agreement there?
Yeah, my clients do that, sure.
Any other questions from the board? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
One last call, if there's anybody here to speak in the public. Anybody online? Okay, we'll close the public hearing.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion to approve the request with the caveat that either a development lot agreement or a replat of the properties in question of 122 and 125, and theoretically, maybe even the property to the north that's also being affected by the vacation, be combined in one way or the other on subsequent transfer or what have you.
I have a motion by Mr. Case. Second by Colhane. Discussion from the board?
So basically, just 122 North Broadway will need to be combined to, so it is not landlocked.
And then that lot where the trucks are.
That, I don't know, the lot to the north, I mean, is that going to be problematic if at some point in time I still have to get to, if they sell that lot off to the north, it's still going to be problems for trying to access the building of 125 or whatever that, my glasses are bad.
Well, I mean, we'll follow our subdivision regulations.
Okay,
I'm not so concerned about the lot on the north.
okay.
I just, that white building, it's the old Ferb storage, cold storage or whatever. The building itself sits almost right on the property line.
Okay.
And it's all loading dock height, so unless you demolished it and made a much smaller building, there's just no access to it
Okay.
currently.
Then I'll just, 122 and 125 then.
Yeah.
'Cause, I mean, really, they could do it any which way, because just to tie it, you know, all of the surrounding properties are owned by the property owner.
I don't care how it gets, just so that it's got some, that property doesn't end up as an orphan 20 or 30 years down the road, and I might still be here. Hopefully not.
Well, yeah, we'll tie it.
I'll restate my motion
something.
to make sure that in one form or another, 122 does not become an island unto itself.
Mr. Colhane, you happy to?
With whatever tool you have in the toolbox to use.
Second.
We'll trust in Brandy to find the right solution for that. The intention's there. Any additional discussion? All right, we'll take a roll call vote.
All right. Ford,
Yes.
Colhane,
Yes.
Dolly,
Yes.
Brink,
Yes.
Oletzky,
Yes.
Kays.
Yes.
6 yes, 0 no. That motion will pass. Moving on to item 7 is the open public comments. I don't believe anybody's signed up to speak. Any new business items?
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Mr. Case.
this could maybe be under old business as well, but as you all are aware, a while back, we met with the city council to talk about the conundrum, which is the Lake Commercial District. And from that meeting, I think there was a general consensus that something needed to be done. In the interim, I have been working with the mayor, the city manager, and Councilman Danforth to come up with a plan of attack. And I know that the idea is to have a small working group of up to 3 city council members and 3 planning and zoning board members to get together on a bi-weekly basis for the next couple months to go through the issues that have been talked about for the last 3 years and see if there's any sort of common ground solutions that can be brought back to both boards for possible action later this summer, early fall at the latest. And early summer is what I'm kind of leaning towards. But anyhow, I have agreed to sit on that board. I had reached out to all of you as well. Bonnie has said that she would be willing to sit as well. I do believe at this point in time, City Council Member Danforth, Kyle Peters, and Jurens have generally said that they're going to, and then the mayor is here just wanting to know who wants to be, because he wants to appoint this committee at the next meeting to move forward. So,
Yeah, I appreciate you both stepping forward for that. I also will volunteer my time to support the effort. So I think with that, I think we have our three for the Plan Commission.
I really thought we were going to nominate the three that aren't here, but all right.
The thought had crossed my mind. So,
Take one for the team here. So, no, I appreciate everybody's input on this, and certainly, you know, we'll do the smaller sessions. This will come forth before the entire board again as part of the regular course
And
of action.
for the public's knowledge, all of these meetings, we don't intend to have them televised, but they will be public meetings at a location that will be agendized. It will be primarily a work discussion of the 6 members of the work committee. We may engage people from the lake, from developers, whatever, as we're gathering information and moving forward with it. The intention will also be then to provide monthly updates, hopefully only a couple of those that need to occur, to the Planning Commission and the City Council. And then at the very end, we will engage staff to have them draft our concepts and our ideas into a regulatory format that fits the regulations that we have. And then we will also then present this information to both the Planning Commission and the City Council at the conclusion of our discussion.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Case. So more to come on that. Appreciate that. Any other new
Board
business?
has a,
Yes,
board,
Ms. Ford.
yes. When you're talking about the lake, we're talking about people don't necessarily all live there regularly, and not televising those discussion meetings, I think, is doing a disservice to those people. If we want good communication, they need, if it's a public meeting, I believe they need to be able to access it, even if they're not in town.
I'm going to leave that to the druthers of the committee that's taking it up. They will be public meetings, just like every other public meeting. There will be 3 public hearings involved with this when we get to the end. I'm not saying that we don't want involvement, but as we are getting into our discussions, we don't know what this is going to look like, and it might very well need to be opened up. But at the initial conversation, we have decided that that's the approach that we're going to take, but it could change.
Well, I stand by what I say. We've already got a mess, and I think the more communication we get out there to people, the better off we'll be. But of course, I'm not on the committee, and I don't have a vote, but I just have a voice, and that's my comment.
And it's duly noted. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
appreciate the insight, Diana. Any other new business? Any old business?
Nope,
Any reason for executive session?
no,
I will adjourn us. Thank you, everybody.
thanks.